Hey, Tackle Warehouse fans, Jake here, doing a live feed to talk about a new Tackle Warehouse exclusive bait. I'm joined by the one and only long-haired KVD, also known as Walker, out of our ATL location. Walker, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
man. Thank you for
so
having
we're going
me.
to talk about a new TW exclusive bait that I know is real big in your guys' area down there in North Georgia, especially on those blueback herring, spotted bass lakes. So, bait we're going to talk about is a SPRO KGB Shad in a TW exclusive chrome color. How excited are you guys about that?
Man, I mean, down here, we are all super stoked. The herring spawn and really just herring fisheries in general are some of the most fun ways and coolest places
Yeah.
to fish. So this new exclusive color is
Yeah, it looks
absolutely
like a ton of
phenomenal.
fun. I mean, all the fishing I've ever seen at fisheries that have those species in it look like a ton of fun, especially in the summertime. I wish I can get out there one day and experience it myself. So, a little bit about this bait, the Spro KGB Chad. That's a collaboration bait in itself, right there. So, the Chad has been around for quite a while, and they've collaborated with Spro to make a more affordable option for anglers if anglers didn't know. Because I believe a Chad goes for like 180 bucks or something like that. No. Which is
Yeah, somewhere
a
around there.
resin bait. Spro makes a very high quality ABS plastic version of it, and I believe they're like 39.99 or 49.99, somewhere around that price point. But still, high quality bait that catches fish, and you guys get to use it a ton down there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you were saying, the Shad is a
Mhm.
phenomenal bait, and then just to be able to have the Spro version, the Spro KGB Shad come in at such an affordable price point, and it still just be such a high quality bait is a really cool thing for us to be able to utilize down here. It allows anyone to kind of get their hands on just some of the best technology and some of the best ways to catch big
Also to be able
fish.
to
So
buy one, because we know that
yeah,
some of these really high quality, small batch swim baits are super hard to get your hands on. I mean, there's very limited drops, and you're even if you know when it's happening, you're online on the website. When those things go live, you're lucky to even get your hands on one in the first place. So having something that is available is awesome for the customers. And one thing that maybe a lot of people didn't know that that I learned from this whole project is that chrome color specifically. So we're all big fans of chrome colors, especially like that chrome olive color from Spro. And then we kind of wanted to take that into this bait and go with something a little bit brighter. But something that maybe a lot of people don't know is that a lot of those small batch chop style shad glide baits that are on the market are predominantly resin style or resin baits, and it is very difficult to get a chrome color onto that material. So this bait, being an ABS plastic bait, gives you the opportunity to get that really high quality chrome finish on that bait, and it looks phenomenal. And we've had the one sample, and it's been passed around hands probably 10 different times over the last month, and I still have not even I haven't even got to see one in person yet. But just from the pictures and everything I've seen, if you can hold it up for the camera, see if we get some.
yeah. Let's show
Yeah.
it off. I mean, that's the Spro KGB Chad in chrome. And I mean, like he was saying, the way that the shine, they have that, the hooks are sticky sharp too. The way they have that chrome on that chrome olive is great. But what we wanted was more of, just a traditional chrome, all the way around that's going to just allow that bait to really pop. And dude, it absolutely does that. I mean, just even on camera, it's picking up how shiny that thing is. I mean, it looks like a 1950s, car wheel,
Yeah.
the way how chromed out it is. And it is eye
And
catching
it,
for
it
sure.
is a straight chrome bait, but I mean, just from you holding up the camera, you can see the details in it. And I mean, one of the only things I've seen is just the product image of it, but the details on it, like the scales and the fin and the gill plates, those things really pop on that thing and really give it that like next level lifelike appearance on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can like you're saying, it's picking it up on camera. The way that the tail is inserted in there, it's a feather tail, which I
Yeah.
personally love. I think it gives it a super realistic action. You can tell that it's not just thrown in there glued. I mean, it's
Mhm.
precisely put in there. All the scroll patterns are great. It's got the rotating hook hangers, which I love for swim bait fishing, especially the spotted bass with tinier
Yep.
mouths. gill plate on. The eyes are super realistic. It's just a great
Comes
bait.
with gummy hooks on it, so you don't have to
Yeah,
upgrade or mess with anything. It's ready to fish right out of the box, which is really cool. So so
yeah.
being a bait that's really focused around some of the fisheries that you're familiar with, kind of uh, I personally haven't fished a ton of those chopping style, shad style glide baits a lot, just because a lot of the fisheries
Yeah.
that are around here, we're more trying to imitate trout or something like that. So what are you looking for? As conditions wise and times of the year, what are you looking for when you're trying to throw that bait?
Yeah, I mean, as far as times of the year, I don't personally think there's a wrong time
Mhm.
to throw a big glide like that. Where you throw it and your retrieve are obviously going to vary, but especially on these herring lakes. I mean, those herring are around year round. The one time that I would say I might stray away from throwing such a big choppy style glide bait like that is like the dead of winter time when they're pushed off deep in the ditches, sitting on timberline, stuff like that, and it'd just be hard to get a bait down 40-ounce jig head or whatever you're
Yeah,
throwing. But for the most part, there's not a wrong time of the year to fish that. As far as conditions and where I like to throw it, right now we've got the herring spawn going on,
mhm,
which is just, I mean, it starts up north on Lake Lanier that I live on and moves its way down south, and just it across the lake right now, those herring are acting crazy. You look on your live scope or even just in the water from the bank, and you're seeing bait balls busting everywhere. And so, what I really look for when I'm throwing this bait on a specific day is I
yeah,
want one, some sun in the sky that's gonna make that chrome pop. I'll throw it on a cloudy day, especially if there's like some clouds and sun popping out every now and again. But on like a bluebird day, it's hard to beat just a straight chrome. I also really like, a light chop on the water,
yeah.
or dead calm. If it's super, super windy, this bait can kind of get lost in the commotion going on top of the water. So I really look for that light chop. But on a bluebird day, I'll pick this up and throw it around too. And a lot of times, what's really cool about this bait is it is, like you mentioned, that chopping style glide bait. So you're able to cast it out, along docks, and chop it and kind of work it underneath that dock. We call it cheating down here. We kind of make it dart to one side,
Uh-huh.
by the real twitches that you're doing. And then we'll do that. We'll throw it over like these laydowns. But a really cool way to fish this bait is, dead of summer, slick, calm day, and you've got all these spotted backs where I live piled up on brush piles or underwater humps, and they're just waiting for something to come across. And so you bomb this thing out, and you just chop it over the brush pile or the hump. And I mean, whether you have forward facing or not, you will literally see with your own eyes just a horde of fish come up behind it. Just the way that this draws fish, it's an absolutely awesome thing to watch happen.
So you said, especially early summer it is a time you like to throw it. But is there? I know we were talking earlier that like right now is one of the best times to be out, especially in your area. And then I'm guessing as you go north, is it just a little bit later in the year? The farther north you get with that thing?
So, I mean, it honestly all depends on how the weather's acting. In my experience, on specifically on Lanier or any of the other North Georgia Highland Reservoir fisheries, a lot of times that herring spawn will start up north and work its way down south, especially if there's river channels flowing in and a
Uh-huh.
dam down south, which is how a lot of the lakes around here are kind of set up. So a lot of times the river channels is where the herring spawn will start. And then as we get later in the spring season, then into early summer, it's going to work its way down the lake. So definitely a couple weeks ago, we were putting in and running up as far river as we could to look for spawning fish and spawning shad and herring, flicking on top of the water to try and find it. But now it's honestly a big mid lake deal to south end kind of thing,
Mhm.
where that's kind of going off. So
Cool. I would have never thought that it starts farther north and then works its way down. So maybe if anyone's watching right now, wonder what any of the viewers, what are their favorite blueback herring lakes to fish this time of the year?
yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of good ones out there.
yeah, I would have figured it would have started south and moved up, as water temperatures get warmer. So as far as geared setups, I mean, we know that SPRO and KGB both have rods for this.
Hmm.
So there is Chad specific rods. They're not your typical swim bait rods. I know you got one in there rigged up.
Yep.
I believe they're both 7 foot nines. They're kind of right around that range, but they are way unique compared to most swim bait rods on the market with those bigger handles. Uh,
Yeah.
and they have really moderate bends. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, my favorite rod to throw this on is probably the G Loomis IMX. They make
Uh-huh.
a 7.9 medium heavy that's got kind of a moderate fast. I like that for the chopping style baits. This one that I've
Uh-huh.
got here is one that I've been playing around with. It's actually the SPRO's KGB Shad rod.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It's a 7.9 heavy, but it does, I can't do a full bend here. I don't want to break the rod
Yeah.
because I'm, might bend too far, but it's got a pretty nice bend to it. The thing that I really like about it is the length.
Yeah.
7.9 being able to kind of not skip but pitch that bait into places where you would normally have to kind of on a regular 8 foot heavy or extra heavy or 7-11 heavy extra heavy where you kind of have to wind up and bomb that cast out there. These rods with that moderate action, the shorter rod, allows you to almost pitch the bait into places that are haven't really seen a big bait, round lay downs, dock
Yeah.
holes, stuff like that. And I've got this actually paired up with a Tranx 200 by Shimano. You
Okay.
can go 200 or 300. I wouldn't go any lower than 200 just because it is a bigger bait. It comes in at, I believe, 2.4-ish ounces. So,
Yeah.
200, especially on the Tranx, it's a beefy reel. It's going to handle it just fine. And I've got that with 22-pound Seaguar Tatsu fluorocarbon. And it handles it great. Anywhere from 20 to 22 pound is what I like on this setup here. So,
So yeah, so it is a more target specific bait. Like you're not just going to make the longest bomber cast that you can with it out into no man's land. That short rod seems like it's for sure going to help get it
yeah,
around, make more accurate cast around cover
for
and stuff
sure.
like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. And like I was saying, I mean, the targeted casting, I love to throw it around, lay down stuff like that. But my favorite thing about this chrome color that we've got going
Yeah.
on with throw is the drawing power of this bait. I don't
Hmm.
think I've seen a glide bait or any other bait, honestly, have as
Hmm.
much drawing power as this bait in this colorway. Seriously, it's the way that the fish react to this thing is unlike anything I've ever seen. There was a time, I've been lucky enough to have this colorway for a little while, some proto testing going on.
Yeah.
So the first time I took it out was actually way up river. I was, in some thick current looking for, the shoal bass that we have and some of the rivers flowing into Lake Lanier. First time I go out, I'm throwing just a regular glide bait. I can't even tell you which one I was throwing. It probably something garage bait or anything like that. And
Yeah.
I was throwing it around. I had a few followers on it, nothing crazy. And then I put on the chrome because the sun got up, and I was like, man, I'm gonna give this a shot. It literally within the first 5 minutes of tying this thing on, I'm working it around in some current, and I have two shoal bass come up and follow it, and a third one come out from under a rock that I was standing on that I had probably cast on 20 casts before, come out of nowhere and eat this thing. And I looked at my buddy and I was like, we just figured something out. The rest of
Yeah.
the day caught, I don't even know how many fish on this thing, and it was lights out. Just how many fish would come and seek it out. Same thing on Lanier. There's times where we go out and I was out with another guy that works with us. We were out just messing around, seeing if we get a fish on it when we first got the prototypes in, casting other baits around, worms, topwater, jigs, whatever on these humps, soft jerk baits, throw on the chrome shad on a pile that we probably cast on 20, 25 times. First cast with the chrome shad, it got those fish's attention and they shoot up to it. And my buddy lands like a 4.5-pound spotted bass. It was unbelievable. It's unreal how aggressive the fish are after that chrome color.
That's really cool. And I've always kind of gravitated towards those chrome colors growing up. Like we fished a lot of spotted bass lakes, and it's just the shinier colors just seem to outperform
Yeah.
most of the time. So just a little recap here. I think we had a question. I think you've covered it already. Like, when is the best time to throw that chrome color? But would there be a scenario when maybe a certain light condition or water clarity or something, you would go with a different color over a chrome?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Chad Shed comes in a bunch of different colors. If I'm going to be throwing big baits, if I know that they're keying in on that, 5 to 7 inch bait range,
Hmm.
early in the morning, I'm probably not going to start with a chrome unless it's a crazy sunrise kind of morning. But 90% of the time, early in the morning until about, 10, 11, when the sun really starts to get high sky, I'll be, starting with a bone or maybe a dull shad color, like a sexy shad color, just to give them a little pop, but mainly just a bone. And then, a lot of times when it's really bad conditions, you've got a lot of wind, a lot of rain, that kind of stuff. I mean, yesterday we had a huge storm roll through, and I would not have thrown the chrome. It just seems like that dull sky doesn't really pick up on it as well. So I love when that high sun hits. I mean, you can see it coming through the water 100 yards out. It looks like a disco ball under there. It's killer. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like an aluminum can coming through the water.
yeah,
I think it's right. So I mean, it is really cool, and that can't stress enough how immaculate that finish is on it. Is It's really hard to get a chrome color to really, right and make it look good. And Spro absolutely nailed it out of the park
Yeah.
for it on us. And so I think it's going to wrap it up. Just to recap the Spro KGB Chad 7-inch bait. It's 2.4 ounces. It's typically going to run in that 3 to 4 foot range, and MSRP on that bait is 49 or
59.
59.49. Getting the numbers all mixed up. 59.49 for that bait. Versus some of the other high-end baits that could run you over $200 most of the time for a custom small batch chop style glide bait. But I think it's going to wrap up our live coverage of the new Tackle Warehouse exclusive Spro KGB Chad in the chrome color. Get them while you can. They're available right now at tacklewarehouse.com. But thanks for watching the live coverage. If you got any comments or things you want to know about the bait, you can leave them down below, and the social team will get back to you. But yeah, head on over to the website, check them on out, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.